Hello, everyone. It's Eva Gregory here, and I'm very excited to be doing this Facebook Live training with you today. I'm actually wanting to do a Facebook Live training for you guys now every single week. I don't know what day it's going to be on yet. I haven't quite figured that out. We're doing today's on Wednesday. We'll figure out. Ideally, I'd love to be doing these at the time that you're here and can be available for them if you want to be. And of course, if you aren't, there's always the replay anyway, but just wanted to let you know that this is going to be a weekly phenomenon now. And I'll keep you posted on all of that. The other thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be asking you what you want, topics, what you want your training on. I'm getting a lot of that, obviously, from some of the surveys that I have been doing. But today, we're going to talk about a very real phenomenon for coaches and spiritual entrepreneurs, and that is business burnout. It is one of the most prevalent problems for so many spiritual entrepreneurs today, especially when you're trying to get your business off the ground or to the next level. So I want to talk to you about what that is, why it happens, and what you can do to prevent it. We're also going to look at 7 signs of burnout so you can see which one of these might be you. And I'm going to give you some alternative solutions for those as well. If you love your business, but you're getting frustrated at parts of it that don't seem to change no matter how hard you work, or see if any of you can relate to these. If you can relate to any of these, whether you're watching live or on the replay, I'd love for you to let me know in the comments section. Or maybe it's that the conditions have changed for you personally. So now you've got more responsibility on your plate and it's taking all the fun out of life. Oh my God. Or if you find yourself engaged in self-destructive habits, even when they're small habits and they make you repeatedly wonder why you just can't get out there and get it done, right? Then hang in with me here and let's see if we can shift that for you today. For those of you who are new to the community, first of all, a huge warm welcome. It's so good to have you all here. And for those of you who have been with me for a while, always a big warm hug and a welcome for you also. I am Eva Gregory. I am the author and the founder of Leading Edge Coaching and Training, and my work is focusing on coaches, healers, holistic practitioners, spiritual entrepreneurs, and helping you integrate inner guidance with the proven practical business strategies that quickly and consistently attract more of your ideal clients without the burnout in the process. Being a coach, a healer, or any other type of spiritual entrepreneur typically means you're working probably more hours than you want to, especially at the start of your new business as you're building your brand. But what if you're still doing that 2, 3, 4 years later? This is what causes burnout. And I know you've probably all heard that term, right? Burnout. Well, this is exactly what's going on. And so why does this happen? Basically, burnout it's physical and it's emotional. It's an exhaustion. And it takes all the joy out of your business. It saps your ability to be proactive and to be inspired and engaged. And in that way, it can also be a very dangerous parallel to depression if you don't nip it in the bud. It can manifest in any time in your business, not just when you're just starting out, but usually it's when 2 conditions are creeping into your work life: stress and the feeling that your business is controlling you rather than the other way around. Hey, Krista, great to see you here. Welcome. And by the way, if I'm ever looking down here, it's because the messages that you guys, if you're on the training, I'm looking at it down here instead of looking at the camera. Anyway, I digress. The moment you have burnout creeping in, the stress you already have been feeling gets magnified. So I'm going to give you some warning signs of what that might look like, and then just see if you can relate to any of these. One is you aren't feeling energized about working at all, or you're frustrated because you can't seem to accomplish tasks that maybe they felt easy for you to accomplish before. or you're not wanting to work on your business. Heck, you're not even wanting to sit down at your computer maybe, or you're feeling angry at yourself because you're not accomplishing more. You feel like you should be accomplishing a lot more than you are. That can also lead to procrastination and avoidance behaviors. That then can result in a decline in your feeling of self-worth and your self-esteem. It can get to the point where maybe you're even resenting your clients, and you're feeling overwhelmed or even feeling hopeless. So it really takes a toll, not only on you, but it takes a toll on your family. It can take a toll certainly on your health and your business. And it kind of makes a mockery of this whole freedom-based purpose of why we went into business for ourselves in the first place, right? So I'm going to go through the 7 steps. And step 1 is to identify the fact that this is what's going on with you. So you want to just realize if you think something's wrong and you're not realizing it's burnout, I want you to understand if you are in burnout, it's time to nip it in the bud. So if you think back to, that euphoria that you felt when you first woke up that first day in your business, what had you so excited? What had you so euphoric? Chances are it was feeling that sense of complete freedom. You're doing your own thing. You get to be your own boss. You're setting your own hours, and you're not having to deal with toxic bosses or employees, coworkers that you were working with before. And now, fast forward to 1 year, 2 year, 3 years or more after you've started up, and chances are that euphoria is gone. And the reality that you're facing is that you're now working more hours than ever. You're not master of your time. You're still fitting yourself in around your clients, or you're dealing with contractors who don't run like clockwork, or certainly aren't running on the hours you would prefer. You're trying to find time for your family, much less time for yourself. It's highly likely that your health is suffering, or your sleep schedule has gone out of the window. You're either up all night, not being able to sleep a wink, and yet you're too tired to work. Or maybe you find yourself napping in the middle of the day when you have deadlines, and you're working way too many hours, and you're definitely not having fun at all. Well, if you're not having fun, you're not going to do anything for long. One of my biggest mottos, fun is number 1, don't you ever forget it. And that has to be one of the priorities in your business as well. And that is not a flippant little statement. It's so important on so many levels. When you're having fun, you're energized, your cells are reacting to that. Your health is actually contributing to your health, right? So add to the pressure of always having to achieve, and then all of a sudden, it may feel like everything becomes a competition, right? With peers, with top influencers in your field that maybe you're aspiring to be like, and with yourself. You're cranky with your family and your friends, perhaps. Maybe even if you have assistants or any kind of team, you might be a little cranky with them too. You don't feel like you have time to take a vacation, or you can't even take a full day off. You're probably eating lunch at your desk, or maybe even skipping meals. You're answering your emails and texts from your phone while you're away from work. Anybody relate to that one? Oh my gosh. Meanwhile, you can even find yourself getting pretty annoyed with your clients, and you're frustrated by the day-to-day business tasks that they have. So you're not even feeling your creativity anymore. All of this is getting squashed. And God forbid, and I have had clients that have said this out loud, you're even thinking, maybe I'd just be better off if I went back and got a job. Please say that isn't so. You got into business for a reason. You were called to this for a reason. And that's why you don't want to let burnout be the thing that has you making decisions. Never make decisions, by the way, from a place of feeling disconnected, ever. But especially when you're in this place. The guilt creeps in because you're procrastinating maybe, or you're putting something off, you're not achieving, and you're telling yourself you should be doing something more. And then your brain has gotten in gear, and it's really like, I should be achieving as much as so-and-so. She's a success. Or if I work harder, I'll be more successful. That's a story you don't have to buy into, by the way. And if I'm more successful, then I'll be happy. Well, that's totally a story that isn't true. This is why we've got to stop. We've got to nip this in the bud. You've got to get back into having some fun in your business. That's what's going to create the success. You're being happy first is going to create the success next, right? And then, of course, that problem gets compounded when you start getting all these negative messages about yourself, like, well, if I can't afford a high-ticket course, then there must be something wrong with me, or I'm not taking what I'm doing as important or of value, which is totally not true either, okay? And of course, where there's guilt, there can be depression. And where there's depression, there is a lot more negative self-messages. And where there's a lot more negative self-talk, then there becomes more procrastination and eventually paralysis. And now you're on the fast track, not to success, but to burnout. So I'd love to hear from any of you. If you're on the replay, if any of this resonates with you, just put a yes in the comments below, because this is the things we're going to nip in the bud today. It's a great time to be doing this, a great time to get realigned with your business. We're going into not only a new year very soon, we're going into a whole new decade. And it's got a whole new energy than the energy we have even been in up to this point. And so now is the time to get yourself back on track. Understand every moment is a new beginning, including right now, and especially right now. It's a huge opportunity. So if you're here watching this, whether you're live or whether you're on the replay, because you feel like you're burning out, this is time for you to shift your focus, not to your woes, but on how can you create a mindset shift that's going to banish that burnout and all of those symptoms that we've just talked about. Now, we can talk about changing the way you view your happiness and your success and creating a positive new reality, but there's also some simple actions that you can put into play, and those need to happen as well. And these are steps to put you in the position of being able to look at things with optimism and a positive mindset so that you can get back to that enthusiasm and get re-energized again around your business. So step one is really just recognizing, am I on the track to burnout here or not? Be aware of that. Step two is you've got to make you your top priority. And this is something that so many spiritual entrepreneurs don't do even before they get to a place of burnout. You're not seeing that as important as it is. It is absolutely got to be your top priority. When I'm speaking to my clients and other spiritual entrepreneurs about their business, it comes around to the issue being like they can't shut their mind off, right? And that's one of the signs, by the way, that you might be heading for burnout. If you're like, you can't shut your mind off, you're not taking breaks, you can't relax in the evening, your mind's like grappling with whatever's going on in your business or what needs to happen or the problems or the tasks, or you're working even after you've, quote, signed off for the night. You might even be, this is something else, we're not going to get into this today, but finding boundaries even with your own clients. So it might be that you have a client saying, but I have this issue and it's important. And so you say, okay, well, even though it's my time off and I'm done, we'll get on the phone together. Now, sometimes it's real, all right? Sometimes, most of the time, not necessarily so. So number one, you've got to pay attention to your own physical and emotional health. You've got to make that first. Then you cannot serve your clients. You cannot be here to grow your business if you are struggling yourself. And so you owe it to yourself and to your clients and to your family and friends to put your needs first. It's called self-firstness. That's what I call it. And let's look at another misconception on that very subject, which is paying attention to your own physical and emotional health is not something you do after you've earned the right to free time. This is not something that comes once you're successful. You take that approach and it's going to guarantee that you're not going to become successful, that you are going to burn out, right? And so you've got to start now making you your top priority. No kidding. Like, make this non-negotiable appointment for self-care for you. All right? Self-care activities. That would be activities for physical motion. You see, people don't think about that. Move. You know, of course, exercise is great. Regular exercise is awesome. If you're not building up to that yet, just get up and move. Go take a quick walk, stretch, take breaks during the day and move. Physical motion is so important for your self-care. Time for meditation. Absolutely. One of my number one priorities is time for meditation. And by the way, meditation doesn't need to be a long hour. It could be 15 minutes a day. That is going to carry you a long way when you do it on a regular basis, on a regular, consistent basis, right? Some kind of daily self-care routine, and then social time. These are not luxuries. Now, they might feel like luxuries right now, and they might even have you feeling guilty. Don't let that happen. They are essentials. These are basic essentials to your success and to your health, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And without them, you're going to start to feel, even if it's on a subconscious level, you're going to start to feel deprived. You're going to start to feel tired. You're going to start to feel foggy. And so it's great to be able to roll into your office if you're working from home like I do, but just make sure that you're putting these other things in place, because one of the other things that I see with spiritual entrepreneurs, many entrepreneurs period, is that when you work from home, where's the line, right? It's like, oh, I'm at home. Where does the work day end? And where does my work end? And where do I go off to do other things? And where is the segment in my day when I'm off to exercise, or I'm off to take my walk, or my 15 minutes of meditation? Or the self-care routine would be, you know, your quiet time and journaling, even self-care to taking care of grooming, getting your hair cut if it needs to be cut, getting a manicure, if those kinds of things are important to you, right? So even if you have to schedule yourself more rigidly than you normally would like, so that you get these self-care routines into place, I really recommend that you do that, just to get it going, because it's something you're not used to yet. And so it's going to take conscious, intentional, and deliberate focus to put those into place and have them happen on a regular basis. So physical motion, I'm not going to demand and command that it has to be hardcore exercise. You know, I'm guilty of not doing that on a regular basis, but there are some things that I do. I definitely stretch. I definitely get out and get my walk in. I go in and out of doing yoga with YouTube. I'm pointing to my monitor over here, using YouTube for that. But if that sounds like torture to you, please don't do it, right? That's not going to help. But think of a way just to break your connection to being at your desk or on calls and fit in some form of physical movement that can get you oxygenated. That's the whole point in all of this, is to get your body oxygenated. Oh, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, 15-minute walk. I happen to live on hills, so I get lots of exercise with my walk. And for me, that makes me happy. That's enough for me. Yoga, again, it's a great way to stimulate not only your blood cells, but your mindset. Things like Tai Chi, Qigong, any type of activity that shifts your brain out of that feeling of overwhelm, and then it raises your positive vibrations. Anything like that is well worth doing. Swimming, if you love to swim, that's another wonderful way to give your brain a break, right? So many different ways. Go dancing, my God, what an awesome way. So you find what works for you, but find it so that it's on a regular basis. You are number one. You're the center of your universe. Make yourself your top priority, because when you make yourself your top priority, everything else will start to fall into place. Number two, we talk about time for meditation and reflection. Once again, this can only be 15 minutes a day. You don't need more than that. And it reinforces, when you do it on a regular basis and at the same time each day, ideally, it just reinforces to yourself that this is what you do, okay? And if you're starting out with this for 15 minutes of meditation, I would say, schedule 20, 25 minutes, because your brain is going to be going 90 miles a minute, and you're going to give it some time to kind of slow down and let you get into that space of those 15 minutes of meditation. Meditation can be just quiet time. This is not about trying to go to no thought. Don't even try. Just quiet. And as thoughts come in, just let them come in and let them go out. Guided meditations are really good for keeping you focused on being in that moment. Meditative music, all of these things you can find for free right there on YouTube if you just Google it. Also, choosing the right time of day to meditate. And by that, when does it feel more useful for you? When are you more energized or ready to get into action versus this is kind of my time of day where my body tends to want to slow down? Then take advantage of that. So finding your own daily rhythm, your circadian rhythm, as I call it, is a great way to look at when to do what. You know, dancing, turn on some music when you're feeling energized. That could be your exercise, getting your blood and the oxygen going in your body. And then when you're kind of like, I'm in that kind of slowing down, that might be a great time for you to spend your 15 minutes in meditation. Even things like sitting in your garden or gazing at plants and trees or things like that put you in a self-reflective state. That's what you're really looking at. And this is, again, when you start to do it on a daily basis, what you'll find is you actually start looking forward to it. So that's the second thing. The third thing is the daily self-care routine. Now, if you don't have time for self-care, you're really telling yourself that you don't matter. And we all know you do. So and it's undermining messages to yourself. It's giving you negative messages about yourself. And you're also teaching those around you that you don't matter either in those ways. So without a good self-care routine, you're going to find yourself feeling more stress, feeling less self-worth. And so what would be self-care essentials for you? Everybody's different. So you have to find what works for you. I go for my manicures every 2 weeks, right? That works for me. Other people, that's not their thing. So look for what it is for you. Another would say that they have to get their 8 glasses of water in a day. Someone else may not feel that that's what's compelling them. Someone might, just thinking of getting their teeth whitened on a regular basis. For other people, that's not. So the self-care routine, I guess what I'm pointing this out is it's not even just survival things. It's more than just survival. It's the things that has you feel good about yourself when you're taking care of yourself. Does that make sense? I hope so. And by the way, any questions you have, even if you're listening to the replay, if you put them in the comment section below, I'm going to be coming back and looking at this, and then I'll be sure to respond to you for sure. Self-care, by the way, does not apply just to the physical. It's about your emotional routines. It's about allowances that you give yourself. Taking that 15 minutes of meditation is a good example. Treating yourself to a day off, a day at the spa. Maybe it's a day off where you're just going to go. I used to do this. Go to the backyard. I remember going to my backyard, sitting under the tree and reading books all day. Oh my God. Just something like that. If you feel like you can't do a whole day, what about a half a day? That once a month, you're going to have a day off or a half a day off. You still need your daily self-care routine as well, but start to challenge yourself to take more time for yourself. The self-care is going to change you mentally. It's going to help you keep your life fun. It'll keep your perspective when you're in business, and things are going to come up in business. You're going to be really busy a lot of times, but it keeps things in perspective. It is not a luxury. This is the thing I just keep wanting to hammer home. It is not a luxury. It is an absolute necessity. So you identify what's important to you and decide how to make that happen, which is a skincare routine daily, your pedicures, manicures, regular hairstyling appointments, eating healthy meals and snacks, social activities. Those are also part of your self-care. Regular massages, if that's important to you, taking your daily supplements, studying personal development work, reading inspiring work, books, those kinds of things, taking time off. Vacations should be a priority. I would challenge you to plan a vacation, even if that's something you don't normally do. Even if it's a staycation. If you can't imagine not being able to take time off, then I want you to do that. This is my challenge to you, is to book some time. It's going to be your vacation or staycation. It doesn't really matter. that you're going to literally take time off. I'm going to challenge you to that. And if that feels hard, book it out 6 months from now if you need to do that, but get it on the calendar. Actually take that step that says, I'm worth it. And it's important for me. So those are some things around self-care. And if this is something you don't do for yourself, it's going to feel challenging. And that's why I'm really encouraging you to just take one step, do one thing, find what those are, put them on your calendar, and then make yourself your priority. And then, of course, the social time. Taking time to socialize is not frivolous. It is essential. Without it, we can slip into, even when you're surrounded with family, loneliness, boredom. You need to have someone to rub the rough corners off, right? You need to have people who are fun to be around, who see you as fun and we want to be around you. Laughter, of course, laughter is just a huge stress reliever. And by the way, I know we're here on Facebook, but talking to people on Facebook is not the same as going out for lunch with a good friend or taking time to do something out in the world that's offline, not online. Even baking your favorite brownies in the kitchen, or joining something like a book club that you're meeting once a month or weekly, however, whatever that might look like. But you just have to ask yourself, why do you let yourself slip into that isolation? I know we can get so caught up in our work. If it's because of your workload, then that is definitely setting you up for stress and burnout. The only recipe you'll be cooking up there is disaster. So just assess whether or not you've fallen into any bad habits, such as workaholism. This is something that many coaches and spiritual entrepreneurs find themselves doing. And don't just cut out the toxic relationships, where you walk away from an encounter where you feel put down or frustrated. You need to be replacing old toxic relationships with positive relationships. And they're all around you. You are, Theos, magnificent beings that we are. We are loved and adored beyond all measure. And there are many, many, many human beings who see you in that same light. Those are the people that you want to go get social with and to hang out with. Now, I know that there are times when you cannot avoid toxic people. We just had Thanksgiving here in the States, and we've got Christmas coming up, and sometimes being with family may not be the most ideal. But so you just make sure that when you're surrounded in other areas and times of your life with people that do fill you up, that it's less likely to take its toll on you, and you don't need to be there for long, right? So just understand that, and do not feel that just because we could get into a whole conversation here about family and what you do and don't do with family. But the most important thing, whatever your decision is to respect yourself. And don't interrupt precious time with your child to deal with some work-related phone call, as an example. Like, really look into what's your real priorities, not what you feel like your knee-jerk reaction has been up to now. Turn that phone off. Shut it off when you're going for a walk instead of taking it with you. Or you can take it with you, but turn it off so that you're not just on the phone. So yeah, I would just say stop right now and just think about what you need to add to your self-care routine. Maybe what you've been deliberately or maybe not so deliberately cutting out. Schedule it back in. Make the time. If an aspect of self-care is important, it's going to have you shift how you feel about yourself as well. I promise you the world is not going to stop if you take 2 hours to go get a massage or a haircut or to get your nails done. It won't stop. And yet you're doing something that's going to rejuvenate you. And you cannot love and appreciate others when you don't love and appreciate and respect yourself. All right, that's step 2. Make yourself your priority. Step 3, get help if you need it. We talk about not being able to shut off your mind. And this also is like, you can't run your business by yourself either. And yet this is what we're doing. We can't shut off our mind, and we're feeling like we got to do it all ourselves. The solopreneur dream is such a fantasy. The reality is that we can't do it all. We can't do everything. It's exhausting. It will negatively affect you attracting clients and making money. This is why this is such an important topic of self-care and putting yourself first. That is going to create a successful business. So see that as an element of your successful business, not as taking away from what you need to do to create a successful business. And if you need help, please get help. Get help. I recommend you make a list of all the tasks that maybe you procrastinate on. And if you can't delegate or automate or outsource all of those, start at least with the tasks that drain you the most and see if you can either, I have this thing called dump it, delegate, do it, dump it, or delegate it, right? Do it, dump it, or delegate it. If you're not going to do it or you don't want to do it, can you dump it? A lot of things can just be dumped. And if they can't, delegate it. And who can you delegate to? Things would be like bookkeeping. Are you doing your own bookkeeping? Technical aspects of your business. Are you trying to figure out how to create your own website when you're really not technically inclined? Graphic design, if that's not your thing. Social media management, although on social media, I have a whole program around, you want yourself and your heart, your soul, and your energy in that. But there are aspects of it that can be managed for sure. But start with things that are small in your business that you could get some help with. And look for people who love doing what you don't love to do. That is the best combination ever. They're doing what they love. You're doing what you love. Everything gets done. And you are in a feel-good place. They're in a feel-good place. And that energy is what creates success. Okay? So that's that part. Get help. And by the way, I'm talking about business. Even in housework, if your housework is something that is it drives you nuts, get somebody to come in. If it's not once a week, once in a while, just to give you that relief. All right? And then step 4 is say no. Just say no. This is such an important step when it comes to reducing burnout. Dump anything that drains you, that stresses you, say no to it, walk away from it, and allow yourself to be very choosy and picky about what you say yes to. So learn to say no. You don't have to accept every single client. You don't have to accept every single client call that they're wanting. You don't have to accept their schedule. In other words, your business, you want to create your business to support your lifestyle. And your business means that if you only work Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, then your ideal clients will work with you on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So this is not the time to say, okay, well, you really want to work on a Friday. Okay, I'll do it. No. No is a complete sentence. Ever heard that? It is. So don't give in to the pressures of others. And then just always ask yourself a couple of things. Does this take me closer to my goals and desires, or does it take me further away if I say yes to it? And does this inspire me or drain me? And so if they are not bringing you further to your goals, if it is not inspiring you, just say no. All right. So important to do. Also, questions to ask yourself. Does this fit with my current schedule as I want my schedule to be? If not, say no. Will I be able to give my full attention and my best parts to this? If not, it's a no. So really start to listen to your inner guidance. Your inner guidance will not steer you wrong. What happens is we have the gremlin on one shoulder, we have our guidance on the other shoulder. Our gremlin is up in our head. Our guidance is in our heart. And the gremlins go, yeah, you should say yes, and you should do this, and you need to work further, faster, harder. And your guidance is going, stop, slow down, play, say no. That's your guidance. And you know it because it feels good. Now, in the head, you think, but I have to be there for those people, or what would they think if I don't do this? Or if I don't support them, who will? That's your gremlin. If that was not an issue, then ask yourself the question. And if it feels like, no, I don't want to do it, that is your guidance. That's your guidance. So pay attention to that. And then control your calendar. Another place where I see spiritual entrepreneurs get out of whack is you can really reduce your stress and your overwhelm when you start creating clarity. And you can do that by booking your off time in your calendar and then doing what the times that you're willing to work in there. So in advance, you want to, how many hours a day and how many days a week do you want to be working on? What do you want to be working in those hours? Exactly what and when. Put that in your calendar. Set specific days that you're going to be there. What are the goals? What's your absolute priority each day? What's your absolute priority for each week? And so then you block off your non-negotiables. Your non-negotiables include your family time, time for your health, time for your exercise, your meditation, your self-care, your personal development, All of that is your non-negotiables. I highly recommend you make them your non-negotiables if they're not. And when you do that, then after you've plugged all of this in, I know this is going against the grain of a lot of people, then you fill in your business stuff, right? I just remember in my inner sanctum, my inner sanctum program, that when we're getting everybody to lay out their calendar, the first thing I tell everybody to do, go in and look at the holidays, the vacations, the downtime, the fun stuff you want to be doing, and your self-care, and go plug that in first. And then once you've got that, now we'll come back and we'll plug in your business stuff. What? People go crazy. You've got to do it that way. This is going to create your success, I promise you. And then you can look at what's your top priorities. And you also want to keep your to-do list very small. Everybody's to-do list is so big, 1 to 3 things. If you really want to stretch it, 5 things, but 3 things should be on your to-do list. Everything else should be on the to-do list of the universe, okay? So I have a to-do list. My absolute, what I'm going to do today, my top 2 to 3 things that I'm going to do, absolutely without shadow of a doubt, short of dropping dead, I will do. Everything else goes over onto the universe's side of the placemat. Now, if I happen to get, I say placemat because this came from the Abraham Hicks process. They called it the placemat process, where you draw a line down the middle of in this case, a paper placemat. They were in a restaurant. On your side, you put your to-dos. On the other side, everything you want to delegate to the universe, right? And so when I do that, then if I get my 2 to 3 things done, awesome. Do I feel inspired to pull something off the other side and do it? Great, I do. But energetically, I feel good. I'm going to feel like I didn't do enough, and I'm going to feel that burden on my shoulders of all that has to be done. That energy is going to make or break you, energetically, vibrationally, successfully, okay? So this is why we do this. So 1, 2, 3, no more than 5 things that you know you're going to do. And then the rest goes on the universe's side. Here's the other thing that happens when you really do that. When you delegate to the universe, your source energy, whatever you want to call that, then you relieve that burden that's on you of all this stuff you've got to do. All right, you go keep those plates spinning, and I'm going to focus on these 2 to 3 things here today. You don't have that deep, depressive, heavy energy. And you create accomplishment because you did your 2 to 3 things. What happens is you might be inspired to pull some stuff off. You might be inspired just to take the rest of the day off, which, by the way, is a great thing to do if you feel like doing it because you've done what you said you would do. Other things are going to take care of themselves. They will start to take care of themselves. If there was something you needed to track down, it's going to show up. If there was a presentation you needed to do because of a talk you were going to give, the talk got moved or it got canceled. Things like that will begin to happen. Clients will ask if they can reschedule because they've had something on their schedule they can't change. Things like that will happen. But that happens when your energy is alignment first. It is in alignment first, right? So 2 to 3 things that you're going to focus on. The rest you delegate to the universe. Tomorrow, if you feel inspired to pull some of that over to make those your 2 to 3 things today, great. Otherwise, don't. This might take a little bit of trust to do. I might have to do a whole live of this and really interact with some of you about how to make this happen for yourself. I'm telling you, it's like magic. It's like magic. So I highly recommend you do it. And then, of course, not when you control your calendar, then you don't overbook yourself, right? Okay. Other thing is not to book things back to back. So if you have 3 client calls today, have at least 15 minutes between the calls. Give yourself some break time, right? And then you want to also look at this is number 6, review your client list. You know, if you're working with non-ideal clients, that is a fast track to your business burnout. These are the ones that drain you. They make your heart sink when you think, oh, I got to have that call with so-and-so today. You know, you've got that pit in the pit. You've got that heart sink, I guess, in the pit of your stomach. That's a big red flag. And interestingly enough, the most demanding clients are also the ones that are the least lucrative for you. So be okay with letting the less than ideal clients go so that you have more opening for those who are ideal. And by the way, what is that saying energetically into the universe? I don't want to work with these kinds of clients. I'm only open to the kinds of clients that I really want to work with. And what does that say? Let's send her, let's send him more of his ideal clients. Or if you're saying, okay, I'll say yes because I just need the money, and you really don't like the clients, you're saying yes, send me more of those types of clients. Okay, we're going to have a whole energy talk on one of these Facebook Lives. So you guys are going to be able to understand exactly where you are and how to shift it when you find yourself going down that track. A lot of times we have no idea that's the track we're on when we're doing things like that. So definitely look at your clients in that way. And then the last thing is something for you to do as well is to review your pricing. Now, how does that have to do with self-care and burnout? Well, burnout is caused by forcing yourself to work with too many clients at a time, or for not enough money, so you still have the stress of not being able to pay your bills, right? So this is when you need to really look at your pricing, and are you actually charging enough for the value that you are providing? And this is also an energetic thing where you've got to also understand that you need to stand energetically in the knowing of your value. And when you do, the clients that come to you will understand that too, right? So there you go, Kokomos. That is it for today. This is really looking at how to recognize and heal from that business burnout. I will actually going to, if you're interested in a little checklist of these things, if you'll just put checklist in the comments section, then I will make sure that you get a copy of this with some of the things that I talked about today that you can look at. You can start to choose to make your priority in your self-care, things for you to let go of, and things to look at a little bit differently. So thank you so much, whether you're watching live or you're here seeing it back on the replay. One of the things I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting a survey or a poll in the Facebook group with some topics. And what I want to know, what are your hot topics? What are the things you really want to learn more about? Shifts that you want to make, changes that you want to make, new action items that would change how you're doing things, transformation, results, outcome. What are those things that you're looking for? And then what I will do is that gives me a lot of good content. I can come back and create these Facebook Lives that really serve you. So have an amazing day. Big, big heart hugs. Lots of love. Mwah! Bye for now.